Hello, 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 and thank you so very much for taking the time to swing on by and check out this installment, this long delayed installment of Revolution Radio. The long delay has primarily been a result of an unexpected residential crisis that then led to an unexpected residential blessing, which has ultimately led to me moving into, my wife and I, moving into a wonderful new home with a wonderful new situation to prepare and set up the Revolution Radio HQ. But all of those things took a lot of time, as you can imagine, and so only now am I getting around to getting this baby up and rolling again. But I thank you so very much for your patience, and above all else, for your prayers. Those are more appreciated than you can possibly know. And before we get too far down the track here in this installment of Revolution Radio, I do want to mention and emphasize the email address, feedback@firebreathingchristians.com. That's feedback@firebreathingchristians.com. Please, please, please feel encouraged to write there. You can contact me at that address. I won't necessarily respond to every email. I can't necessarily do that, but I do promise to read through every email that's sent. And I would strongly encourage and greatly appreciate any sort of particularly biblical correction that you might offer, suggestions, thoughts, criticisms, any of that. The idea here is just to encourage in each of us and promote and nurture a Christian worldview in action and application when we're considering anything political, economic, anything at all. We want to seek the will of God, seek and apply or submit to the Word of God. And that's the submission part that's always so hard. Everybody claims to, and with a certain level of credibility, we all want to know what the truth is, and finding truth is not necessarily difficult in many instances, but submitting to a truth that is challenging is difficult. It grates against our very nature, and the most challenging truths that there are when it comes to confronting human nature are the truths of the Bible, the truths of God. A holy God does not sit well with sinful men, and his perfect word inherently grates on those who are in rebellion against him. And of course, we are all starting in that position, and only by his grace are any of us saved. So, bringing a Christian worldview to bear, finding out what a Christian worldview should be, and then applying it. These are the things that we're trying to do here, that I'm trying to encourage through the Revolution Radio broadcast. To that end, today and on through the installments to come, Lord willing, over the next few days, we're going to be considering some of the more recent political and economic realities, particularly the gun control issue, the libertarian movement, the libertarian response to the re-election of Obama and some of the policies that he's advocating in the wake of his re-election. We're going to be considering those things. We're going to be considering libertarianism. We're going to be considering, in particular, one gentleman and his influence and his program and the power that he has. A guy I find very interesting personally, and actually I think highly of in a lot of ways, and at the same time I'm troubled by in some ways. And this is Alex Jones, and I think that over recent weeks, most of you probably are aware that he has become a central figure in the gun control debate. I think that's a good thing overall. But we're going to take, at least my hope and my plan is to take a good hard look at what exactly it is that libertarians believe, and we're going to use Alex Jones. And Alex Jones is one of many. I mean, you don't ever want to define a movement by one particular person, even if they are particularly influential and powerful within the movement. Alex Jones, my favorite thing about him, and there are many good qualities with this guy, but my favorite thing about Alex Jones, and I suspect that this is one of the reasons for his popularity, is that despite his lack of polish, he is, this sounds so corny and cliched, but it's so true with him, he's just real. He is the real deal. He is just letting it fly. He is completely passionate, completely committed. I would say that if evangelical Christians could be a third or even a quarter as committed and passionate to the gospel of Jesus Christ, the undiluted gospel of Jesus Christ, if they could be as that committed to that beautiful truth as Alex Jones is to the what he calls his info war, or his war against what he sees as an encroaching prospective tyranny here in America, with the emergence and empowerment of ever more radical progressives in the government and the things that are changing here, the gun grabbing, the gun control issue, a variety of issues. I mean, economics, everything's covered under this. He has a real passion, a visceral disdain for tyranny, and he loves liberty. He loves the thought of human liberty and freedom and dignity. And he is willing to fight. He is willing to put it on the line, spend his time, his treasure. He is so passionate and so demonstrably committed to his cause, the cause of human freedom as he understands it, and the cause of opposing tyranny as he understands it. And you gotta love that at some level. There has to be at least a respect for that. Now, as admirable as all of those qualities may be, and I think they are, I think that you would agree with me that they are, as admirable as those qualities may be, these qualities like passion, love, revulsion, I mean, all of these sorts of qualities, these sorts of attributes, they're only as good or bad as the object to which they are attached. So, what we're going to do in future installments here coming up shortly, Lord willing, is we're going to take a good, detailed, hard look at libertarianism, specifically the Alex Jones flavor of libertarianism. And I've been a huge fan of his for a long time. I've listened for a long time. Nothing we're going to cover here in upcoming episodes is going to be taken out of context or an anomaly. We're going to take an honest, long, biblical look, or at least we're going to attempt to use, as best we're given the ability by the grace of God, we're going to try and test the words, the beliefs of Alex Jones, separate the wheat from the chaff so that we might embrace what we can embrace wholeheartedly, and politely, prayerfully, thoughtfully, courteously correct any problems that might be found in what he's having to say. I mean, he's an important voice at an important time in American history. And so I would encourage you, if you're listening, even if you have no idea who Alex Jones is, you don't know who I am barely. You just happened onto this obscure little podcast and you're wondering what's going on here, why you're even listening. Please pray for Alex Jones, pray for me. What I want to do is consider what he is saying, what the movement that is rallying around him to a great extent has to say about the nature of man, the nature of God, the nature of good, the nature of evil, and the hope for victory in light of those beliefs, those views on God, man, good, evil, the hope for victory, the plan for victory, the cure for what ails us from a libertarian perspective, as voiced by Alex Jones. And these are the things that we're going to contemplate and consider in light of biblical truth sometime over the next few days, Lord willing. Now, in order to sort of prepare you for where I'm wanting to go, at least as I see things now, as far as that particular conversation is concerned, one thing I would encourage everyone to do, and I have only done this to my great embarrassment and shame. This has only occurred to me very recently, and by recently I just mean in the last couple of weeks, that I've really just taken a look at two things and put them side by side and try to line them up and see how they fit together. Anyway, I'll just cut to the chase. The two things that I would like for you to just read, just take them. Normally we don't encourage anything out of context here, and ultimately we're not going to take them out of context. But just for the sake of this exercise, what I would encourage everyone to do is take the First Amendment, read the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States, read it through a couple times, and absorb it, get it in your head as it's understood now. What does this mean exactly in a contemporary understanding of this amendment? And I don't mean anything tricky by throwing in the words their contemporary understanding, or that this thing is, that phrase, a living and breathing document. That is one of the most horrifying things that could be said about any sort of set of rules. As I think it's Walter Williams who has said many, many times that how comfortable would you be going over to someone's home to play poker if they informed you that you would be playing poker with them by a living, breathing set of rules? Not a good thing. So I'm not trying to be sneaky or lawyerly in the negative sense by saying contemporary understanding. I just mean read the First Amendment, read it through a few times, and just let it soak in. No tricks, nothing wacky. Just let it soak in as it's understood nowadays by most people who would have an awareness of the First Amendment. Just an honest, accurate understanding of what that means. Kick that around in your head for 10 or 15 minutes. Just let it soak in. Then the other thing that I want you to pick up, read through, and hold on to, I want you to read the First Commandment. The First Commandment of God to man. Read those two things as they're not confusing. They're not tricky. Nothing I'm doing here is a sleight of hand or lawyerly trick or Jedi mind trick or anything else. What I want you to do is just read those two things and consider them one in light of the other, and weigh them, test them, hold them. That will give you an idea of the sort of sort of topics we're going to kick around in the context of libertarianism and the current American political situation, gun control, the response to gun control, the coming economic collapse, and yes, the coming, looming economic collapse. That's another thing we're going to be touching on here in the coming weeks, Lord willing. A lot of cool stuff. A lot of it is political, economic, constitutional, and all of these things. And all of those things, all those categories, what are they? Of course, they're all tied to the gospel. And that's what we're going to do. You don't have to work at this. It's not a trick. This is not, 6 degrees or 7 degrees of separation or Kevin Bacon or anything else. It's all very clear. It's not hard to find gospel truth relating to any of these significant issues that are confronting the country today. And so we're going to strive to take these issues, gun control, the economic collapse, the economic condition, the re-election of Barack Obama, the expansion of government, the pathetic state of the feeble, awful Republican Party. All of these things we're going to consider in light of the perfect Word of God and the gospel of Jesus Christ. And it's just beautiful. What an opportunity. There's so many things I'd like to say now, but a lot of this stuff is going to be fleshed out in detail in coming episodes. I mainly now would like to just thank you so much for your patience. I would encourage you again, go to firebreathingchristians.com, check it out. We'll be launching a YouTube channel here before too long also, Lord willing. The Fire Breathing tees are up there, t-shirts with some pretty cool, I hope, designs. I think, feel free to write me at feedback@firebreathingchristians.com with any critiques or suggestions on the t-shirts, the podcast, the website, the books, anything. Just feedback at firebreathingchristians.com anytime for anything. I do promise to look over every email that comes in, though I cannot promise to respond to them. So, thank you once again for tuning in. Thank you for your patience with the long delay. And do not forget your homework assignment. I want you to take in one hand the first of the 10 commandments of God to man, and in the other hand, the First Amendment to the Constitution of the United States. Consider those things, ponder them prayerfully, just get them in your mind and test them against one another. How do they fit or not fit? Do they rub against each other? Do they fit hand in glove? How do you see those things? How does God see those things? As Christians, that's our goal, is to understand God's perfect view of these things. That in one case, a thing that he has written and constructed, so it is perfect, the first commandment of God to man. And then a man-made thing. It could be a beautiful man-made thing, the First Amendment to the Constitution. How do they fit? Where's its beauty? Where's the trouble? If there is beauty, if there is trouble, just be thinking. Weigh those two things. Hold those up. That's the homework assignment. And thank you so much for your patience once again. Thank you for checking out firebreathingchristians.com and send that feedback on to feedback@firebreathingchristians.com. I will read them all and respond to as many as I can. Thanks again. God bless. Talk with you soon, Lord willing.